Welcome YouTube. We got YouTube here. We have Melbourne Carlton. We're kicking off round 12 today. So that means we're kicking off with the bye rounds. We've made it to the bye rounds. We're catching up to live footy. And yeah, we're catching up to live footy. Where are they at right now? So they're at like round 17. We've just hit round 12, so we will catch up. And especially because we're in the bye rounds, I reckon, I wonder like at what point we're going to like fully catch up with the world, you know? And just how different will our season be? A lot more blowouts in our season. We can't get rid of that one. Oh yeah, so, no, bring it back here. Hopefully things will be good. I gotta be wary of like my shoulders, my back and stuff. It's weird because I'm able to do push-ups, but like every day I'm in pain. So like I haven't done them for a little bit, and I'm realizing like I understand that I should not be doing them. So like I'll be looking to avoid doing stuff on my shoulders and everything, or collarbones. I'm not even sure, like I haven't exactly pinpointed exactly what part of my body. Like I know it's my upper body, and it's in the shoulder blades, it's in the collarbones, that chest. Like it's definitely a push-up problem. But yeah, it is strange though. It's like I can feel, because it's like I've been feeling this way for a bit of time, but I remember I was still able to do like push-ups. It was just been a couple days ago. I'm not the greatest when it comes to resting my body, you know. I want to come get this. I do wonder how much of an impact playing the games we have on that. I'm not entirely sure in terms of the way that I'm sitting to play games and everything. It's like I just had like a bit of like a deep breath in there a little bit, and that actually hurt, you know. That was actually painful. So that's not great. But it seems as though we should be able to. It seems I can still move my arms around to get our games going. So it should be good. Look, I missed the picket. That is actually an amazing goal. Yeah, that was actually really, really good.
The Demons with a break now.
Right, so it is Melbourne who have player one and player one privilege. So we'll see what can happen with Carlton if they can do some stuff, but I don't know. Just as long as like we're able to play for it, we're able to sort of enjoy playing through it, moving things around, maybe have like stuff to talk about. Then it'll all be fine, you know? Then it'll all be fine.
You can't question his commitment.
Don't get rid of it. I was mentioning it right before starting this game, but I found myself feeling okay, because this is in part because of the arm issues. Like exercise bike wise, I felt like I couldn't do it. There was enough of the strain on me that I felt like I couldn't do very much of that. So I did find myself going on like a walk, and it was like, because it's winter, that means things can be cold. It actually wasn't too bad in terms of coldness, but it was like spitting rain stuff, which I guess like when you put on like a nice little jacket, you have yourself covered, it's not that bad. Then again, I'm also comparing to the time when I was walking in actual like, full rain and everything. So stuff compared to that, this seems like it's nothing. But yeah, it was interesting. It wasn't. It can be nice being on little walk. Bring out kicks with Carlton. Let's see what you get.
Defense 101 there.
Like I found myself thinking, like trying to reflect on myself. Like one question I really like to ask myself is, what do I want? You know, and I never really know how to answer it, because it's like, oh, what do I want and what are my reasons for wanting it? What is that Pittonet? He's freaking out. He is freaking out. You'd see him on the left. He was freaking out there.
Are playing some great footy.
Hey, that's with Carlton. Let's get rid of that.
He might have thought about the corridor.
But
with a big fist.
where I live nearby, like not too far from me, are where the schools I went to are, right? So it's very easy for me to want to like go to those schools and just walk around and think about things. And I do like question in my head of like, why of all the places I can go do I feel like going to the schools? And like I understand, like it's very easy. I feel like for me it's probably easier to point to what would attract me about them, which is just that I left school really quickly. You know, it's like you leave school in year 7, like your life trajectory goes off normality very quickly, you know. So it's like I understand that. Get rid of it. Hey, there we go. But yeah, I find myself just asking myself, what do I want? Why am I wanting it? Like, why am I streaming? I'm not, like, I'll ask myself, okay, what is it about streaming that brought me to want to do this? And then, am I getting that from it, you know? From streaming, from doing YouTube stuff. What's my reason, like, for wanting to do this of everything that a person can do? Come get rid of that. Like I feel like I do recognize that part of it is, well, I'm used to playing games, but that doesn't explain streaming in YouTube necessarily. It explains why I would play games, but there's a comfort in that. Mr. Grundy. Like I feel like I recognize that based on my life, where I've been very isolated, insulated within this very house, that my ideas on terms of like what I myself am able to do on a regular basis, I'm doing it within those confines, you know? Like when I would, because when it comes to my exercises that I do, I'm pretty much able to do them in this house. Like I've never gone to a gym.
How's the entry? Oliver tries to spike it out
of
the danger zone by hand. Can't afford to give it back in the corridor.
Get rid of that.
People can't kick that far. That's unusual.
Like, as much as what was I saying? I was saying yeah, because I was recognizing that I'm doing things based on like with, I suppose going for a walk outside does require you leaving the house. However, I don't have to talk to anyone in that. And I'm still able to be sort of in my own head, like that. There is a comfort zone still I'm able to have within that. So it's something I'll think about. Get rid of this. I also find myself thinking about how I find this interesting. So come get rid of this. I'll think about how we grow up in terms of how it's like, okay, baby is born, baby grows up, goes to school, goes out of school, goes to like other things from there, maybe like work and stuff. They'd be adult stuff now, but sort of what I was thinking of is I'll just have to like bounce around thoughts and move around with it. I know that like people don't say that they don't like indoctrination and they really like education. Like people tend to value education very highly. But one thing I find myself thinking about it kind of is that, logically speaking, because okay, so if someone who's like under 18, right, is incapable of consenting to things because of their age, we're saying they're not mature enough, then that would actually automatically mean that they are because we will say that in situations where, like, so the example would be, we don't want kids having sex with adults because they can't, and being like they're not mature enough to understand in that situation. That's just one example, right? Most people, I think, tend to agree with that idea. Okay, but get rid of that. There you go. Oh, that's another goal for Melbourne. And the idea is that, so the idea I think would be, oh, they're unable to consent. So, but that line of thinking wouldn't just, that would go across everything. It would say that someone under that age is unable to think for themselves, basically. Pretty much. So, having a child grow up in an education system and being like, this person will go to this place and we will teach them stuff, but they are unable to, like, consent to the situation, logically speaking, means that every child is being indoctrinated. I think that is correct, just based on the logic. So it's like, it's interesting seeing that, and then being like, okay, so life kind of works where it's like, you are kind of put into a situation when you're supposedly unable to consent to things. And you have to be, like, really good at it as well. Like, your life trajectory depends on it, because at least it's gonna, you have more options if you're doing better at it, you know, better at something that the people around you are valuing, which would be education. Because, like, and then when that's done, like, the moment you hit 18 or whatever, suddenly, apparently, you're suddenly able to consent to all these things. And then it's like, oh, well, we're going to get you into it right away. So, like, it feels very predatory. Okay, so we're going to get rid of that, where it's like, oh, you're a kid, you can't do anything, and whatever, so we keep you away from stuff. Then, like, the moment you turn, it's like, bam! Well, I'm sure that there's, like, it's not 100% exactly just like that, but it can feel that way of just like, we care, and then bam, nope, never mind, you know, your own and stuff. Okay, no, get rid of that one. What was I connecting that to? I guess I remember bringing that up because I was talking about, like, the reasons I'm doing this and stuff, and I was also talking about the walk I was on and how I left school early, and being able to sort of, it does make things interesting in terms of looking at perspective, in terms of intelligence, and, like, you understand, oh, I'm not as, like, you learn that you're always going to know less than you will know. Like, in a way, it can be nice to be like, oh, I don't know all this stuff, you know, but I probably at the same time, there's also, like, a willingness, there's also, like, a desire in me, and in me at least, and this is probably just because when I was younger, I was probably just told I was smart, but then life grew up in a way where I wasn't getting that, where, I wasn't getting those little ticks, you know? I found myself, I wasn't getting those ticks anymore, because I wasn't there. So, I feel like I can see, why I would be so interested in wanting to, like, talk about things and try and be like, look at me trying to be smart, and then trying to progress my way in life through that path, through, like, the intellectual path. Part of it's like a, I must, of it being like, I must prove I am superior in this way because I was so lacking in it. I feel like I can see that a bit.
That's not a good kick. Kicks to space. Hewitt read that well.
It's not like I put in, like, as much effort as I can into that. I kind of, I can find myself get burnt out and stuff. Like, I remember I was doing YouTube stuff before this, and that would have been years ago, and I would have made attempts where I would have been looking to do, like, little topics and being like, oh, let me, like, work out this topic, and then try and make a little video on it, and then I would do that for a few of them, but then once I got somewhere where I felt stuck, then I just kind of gave up on it, you know? So there's definitely, oh, get rid of it.
It's a desperate tackle. He couldn't get rid of it. They wanted hold of
So I definitely see in myself like, oh, there's a desire to be smart, but not necessarily a desire to put in all the work to then deliver it to other people. Also learned that intelligence is actually basically a popularity contest in terms of, I would have mentioned this before, in terms of your value as being smart, at least with it, because think of it like a school environment. You get told that you're right and wrong because the teacher says you're right or wrong. It's not actually based on you. Oh.
He really should have capitalised on that, but not to be.
And then it's just sort of a reflection on what everyone else values. I've mentioned that before, I know that. What exactly was I going with that though? I'm trying to think where I was going with it though. Did it have to do with the walk in terms of why I went there? Wasn't having to do with... Get rid of that. Okay. It might have had something to do with the walk. Oh.
Gorn has been dominant in the ruck.
I'll get rid of that. That's from Carlton. It is like something that is interesting. I might have to like come. I'll find my way back to where I was going if there was something that I'm forgetting. But I do remember that as I'm like going on these walks, I'm going to these schools and I'm thinking about stuff, and I can think about past instances where I tried reaching out to people from school, and I even now still sort of feel that way. I sort of, my recognition of that, like my understanding on all of that, kind of comes from looking at it, and I guess like internally, this is currently something I'm still workshopping on, in terms of fully believing this. Oh no, I was with the wrong controller. Believing this, but
oh come on, that is harsh, umpire.
I kind of get the idea of like, oh, I left school early. Social development was not exactly there, you know? So maybe when it comes to like wanting to socially integrate, there's part of me that might be where streaming comes in, actually. It might come back around. Is looking at it and saying, oh, me want to go reach out must go to people from sort of like, oh, that's where I left off, that's what I know, you know? So it's like looking to head backwards to try and fit into my present, because on the inside I still see myself as that kid from back then. So I then look at all those other people as like, well, that's how I know them. I like, yes, their lives might have gone different ways and all that, but that's how I know them. So if I go back there, they'll be fine with that or whatever, because the world revolves around me, and then I'll be able to like go back to then move forward. You know what I mean in there? I do see that. Ah, get rid of it. How is that connecting to streaming though? So,
they'll need to be more careful than that.
I felt like I was sort of like my understanding on it comes from, what does it come from? Hey, I guess in a way, because the idea of like streaming and YouTube and having things here is that like if all I wanted to do was talk while I played games, I wouldn't have to like stream it. I wouldn't have to put it on YouTube. Those things wouldn't be happening. Like, why do I have a webcam? I don't have to have a webcam. Why do I have my voice going? I don't have to have my voice going. but there's things internally that I suppose that I am looking at and saying, oh, this is what I can get from it potentially. This is what I'm after by publicizing all the stuff, by having my face on here.
Had the presence of mind to get to the dangerous spot, recognizing the urgency. Oliver judged the flight well.
Oh, goddamn.
That's come off the side of the boot.
Like, I'll see that. Like, I'll also think about myself in terms of, I'll think about it from the webcam perspective, from having my voice and what I'm talking about and how I'm expressing myself. I'll think about the fact that the name we got here, Lenny goes here, Mr. Legend Lenny, the Mr. Wonderland, Lenny Best, how all those things are like little names I've come for myself, where it's not like given by birth, you know, it's all given by myself, like a whole identity for me to be around. I'll think about, like, I think about that quite a bit, but the interesting thing is, like, the Lenny Best name, that's something that in my mind's been around for like 5 years, 5-6 years. It's just like now it's like, ow, like I guess it's only like really now where it's like public.
Now it's someone else's problem.
I guess.
Cops some unwanted attention. Manages to get off.
I'll think about that.
Hunter fighting hard. Langdon can get it and go. Quick kick towards.
It'd be nice if like Carlton could do something here. But
for the pocket.
Oh well. I guess we'll just like keep talking about myself, because really that's all this is about, isn't it? Like, yeah, people can come in. There could be someone who's like, oh, I'm gonna go watch this thing. They might stick around. It's always more likely that someone isn't going to than will stick around, and like that makes sense. Come get rid of this. I think that makes sense.
He's kicked it hard.
Hey, it's like I'm not streaming. I'm not doing YouTube stuff for other people. Yes, because it's public. It's like it doesn't make any sense to have things that you're putting into the public to then say, I don't want people to like watch it and stuff. That doesn't make any sense. Like, the only reason you'd be making it public is for attention. Like, you're wanting some kind of attention.
Goes at goal, but I think that's going the wrong side of the stick. It's a behind.
An ugly looking scoreboard should probably be even uglier.
Danger here. Akers.
Okay, that's Mr. Akers. Kick down there. Okay. Handballs. Come on, Viney. Yay. Oh. That's not going to make it, though.
Never looked like being a goal.
Go on, Carlton.
Delivers a long ball.
And that's going to be out of there.
To catch their breath.
The Blues will have no shortage of things to work on at training during the week.
Okay. Then we have Melbourne. Come on. Nope. Never mind. It's going to be a ball up. It is weird to think about with like rain. Of like, why does it rain? You know? It's like we can answer like questions and everything of being like, oh, it rains because this is what happens in this and this thing here and all that. But it's like, okay, then you still have to keep asking the question. Oh, this happens because of that. Well, why does that thing happen? Oh, that thing happens because of the thing before it. Why does that thing happen? And then you kind of have to keep going down that line. And like eventually we're just going to be like, I don't know. Like eventually we're just going to say, I don't know. Because like I saw that, and it's like, what the hell started all of that, you know? I know that like I had, there was like, because that's like when people get into like the question on like God, and it's like, oh, it's God's thing. It's like, okay, well, what is God? And then all that stuff, and it's like, well, what does that God want then, and everything, you know? And it's like, should we do it just because there's okay, so if there is a whatever that God is, and then that God has this purpose for us and everything, should we actually listen to it? Should we actually give a crap? Should we just do what we want? Are we even conscious beings in terms of we ourselves have full autonomy over ourselves? Are we just like little robots based on whatever God wants, and we have our own little robots, like it's a pyramid scheme of robots, you know, like like a little pyramid going on.
Stand under that. Doherty, that's an aggressive handball. Gets his kick despite the heat.
How the hell did I get over there in terms of what my thoughts were? Start talking about that. There would have been a connection. Just what would that have been?
And out it goes.
Lots to analyse, Gaz. What's down?
The Blues aren't doing their forwards any favours.
I remember I was like talking about
to switch things up.
what I like internally and my reasons for wanting to do YouTube and Twitch and stuff, and it's like, look, I can see connections between having left school early, there's like, you don't need like a formal education to do this stuff, you don't need that traditional stuff going on. It's like, in terms of
They've bottled it up. Rucks go at it.
Like if we're looking at it from like a monetary point of view, if we're looking, like, I can see that Twitch, YouTube, like, I know that there's also like Kick going around or whatever. It was like, who knows if I go and look at that at some point, but I see here, I'm like, okay, there's opportunities for me to play games, there's opportunities for me to talk about things that I want to, and for people to potentially hear them and all that stuff. I don't have to leave the house. I can do it within the confines of an area of an environment that I'm already comfortable with. That's nice. I don't know if there's more to it than that, but I do see those things.
Brings it back in.
Come get rid of that. That's Melbourne. Oh no. Go. There we go. But it's interesting. I remember mentioning authenticity not that long ago, and looking at that and being like, oh yeah, it's so good, the idea of being authentic, you know, being like the type of yourself and expressing the way that feels like you know. It's like, okay, but in order for something like this to be something you can do long term, that it's like, it depends on your environment in terms of your situation, like how long you can go for before it's like, oh, is this sustainable? Is this something you can keep doing? In order for it to, like, in general, for something to be continuously something I was supposed to be sustainable, you need like other people to want to come and watch. You need other people to come and to be hearing it out, to find continuous interest in you. But it's like, in order for that to happen, if you're being authentic, if you're being the thing that you want to be, you're really, a lot of it, you're basing it and just saying like, hope this works and stuff. Well, you're always saying, hope this works and stuff, right? But being the way that you want to be can work. It can. But being what other people want to see will always work. You know? That's why that's why we put things, why we're quote unquote fake. Because in order to like have a living, you know, like I think most people aren't going around saying like, I want to be a homeless person, and like that happens because your perceived value has gotten so low that you can't do all that stuff, right? So then you're just like, oh well, I'm homeless, and then that's what happens. So it's like,
was he taken high?
Tries to take him on and loses.
That's a
okay, Mr. Pachaka, you want to get rid of that. There we go.
It's come unstuck. They've got time to put the kettle on.
And let's see. So it's interesting. So I'll think about. I don't really think about it. I don't think I think about it a lot. But like, I'll give thought to the fact that at this exact moment that I'm speaking, I'm live on Twitch and there are no one watching. I'll think about that. So like, I can mention the idea of like, for something to be sustainable, you need the interest of other people. Having no one watching right now means currently there is no interest in it, you know? in the product that I'm putting out there. So there's no like, and then in order to like be able to get money from this, that requires interest. It requires getting to enough viewers that then Twitch or like even on a YouTube, it gets to a point where they're like, oh, you are worthwhile enough to be able to say it's okay for you to be able to make money from this stuff, you know, to be able to then say you're worthwhile enough, you're worth our time to have you be able to make a profit from doing the stuff you're doing. Oh, get rid of that. There you go. So eventually we would like to see Carlton get a goal, but I don't know. It's like, I would say it's something I can control since I'm playing as both teams, but it always feels out of my control actually. Somehow it feels out of my control. Because if this was all in my control, you really think I would be having this be the score right now? Like, no. Like, that's just stupid. I don't know.
Must be holding the ball, and it is.
Mr. Cripps. Let's see what we get in there. Uh-oh! Up. Kick it. Come on.
Into the pocket he goes.
Come on, Carlton. Yes.
Great body work.
Straight in front.
Oh, thank you.
Not miss.
Got to be able to get this. Okay, let's see with Harry. Let's see what he gets. Bring it back. And... oh, no, dude. Why are you missing that?
You can't blame the midfielders for dropping their heads after that.
Yeah, man.
To bring it in. Harms. That's good work rate.
Kick over here. Okay, we got Gorn. I was listening, like, yeah, I was talking about how really our lives are sustained based on the interest of others around us, feeling like we are valuable to them. That's how if I'm ever going to be in a situation where I am making money from this and it's like a sustainable thing financially, I would need people watching. I would need people to be interested in what I'm putting out there. In order for that to happen, I have to be interesting, you know, and being authentic, doing what I'm doing right here. Like, what I'm doing right here is pretty close, if not exactly, what I actually want to be doing. So you would say, oh, I'm being authentic because I'm being the thing that I want to be, but no one's watching. So that's why I mentioned, and like, I was fully aware of this prior to coming in, so it's not like I'm doing it and then getting a hard reality check, you know, that I'm just very aware coming in that in order to be able to be what would be considered successful, it requires being the people who want to come here, who would be the customers, the viewers, finding it interesting. So that's why we put on a performance. Like, we're always projecting something, we're always putting something out there, whether or not that's something that we are able to sort of keep up consistently, like every single day, 24/7 or so, or if it's something that's like we're just trying to keep it. Why can I smell hash browns? Oh, right, I can smell hash browns. And it's making me want them. Get rid of that. Hey. Okay, no, that's gonna stay in. It goes out. It'll be a throw in.
What have you noticed down at ground level?
This game's been decided for a while, but I don't think many.
But like, if my sole goal was, if I was at a point where I'm like, okay, I'm doing this and I need to be making money. What's the way to do that? The way you do that is by looking up what people care about and then trying to find a way how you can fit into that. Like, that's how you're going, because that's how you do that, you know? Like, I understand that, you know? Mr. Petrarca, get our kicks down there. Like, I think people's whole thought is, oh, be the thing you want to be and you're going to be able to do that. probably live a very luxurious life. I don't mean they're probably living in a or they can just completely do not understand reality. They do not. They're probably, in my head, I'm like, there's a very good chance this is someone who's living a life that is very luxurious. And I don't necessarily mean in, like, yes, I suppose I do mean, like, oh, richy rich person that's living, but that's not like how I think about it. That's not necessarily what I'm thinking of it. But I guess it is the way that I'm explaining it. But at the very least, this is someone who just doesn't. I'm like, this person does not understand how things work. That's what you think.
Wins the hard ball.
Come get rid of this. To the right. I do suppose that my growing up, even though I wasn't at school, learning things like Survivor, is probably one of those things that was really helpful in terms of understanding, actually seeing that people will not give you stuff just because you want it, just because you're being honest and everything, and honest and authentic. They will give you stuff based on what they think you offer them, based on the value they perceive you to have for what they want for themselves. Like, I understand that. Carlton still don't have a goal, which is unfortunate. But like we can try and do stuff with them. But, oh well.
There are big chance here. Some good ball movement.
Hold back the rivers, let me look in your eyes. Hold back the rivers of blah blah. Okay, that's the break shot. Let's see what you got. You got the Kennedys. Kick it here.
Moving the footy laterally. Chandler making his claim for the Golden Fist Award. He'll be
okay then.
In the morning. Pickett closed him down. Harms.
It's fascinating. The way that I'm talking right now, I actually kind of feel like I'm talking with the most amount of conviction I have, probably throughout the entire almost 2 months of streaming. So I'm like, oh yeah, the way I'm talking about things, I probably feel the most proud of myself right now, and there is no one watching.
The Demons are finishing with a wet sail. It's a poor kick. Kennedy affects the turn.
Oh, come on, get rid of that. No, that's a ball up.
Stoppage coming up on the wing. The two big men do battle.
Okay then. So you got Bourne, come with Carlton. Keep it going.
Positives today. Silvani.
They can get this. Come on. No, yes. Yay. They got that. Very good.
Full of energy. Never more so than when he's just kicked the goal. He loves it more than
okay, cool.
The Blues have opened their account.
Mr. Carlton.
Cripps absorbs the pressure. That's unusual. Salem feeling the
you go with Carlton. There you go. Oh, okay, come on. Now you have Hewitt. I'm sure I do feel like I had more to talk about in terms of the authenticity topic. I'm just like trying to remember exactly where is, because I feel like there was a point where I sort of went off track on what I was looking to talk about. I changed directions at some point. I didn't go necessarily off track, but I changed direction. But I'm just trying to like work out what else because I still feel like I had something else to add on that. Oh yeah, because it had to do with, because I was listening to a podcast that had, it was a debate. It was a Tim Pool one, and he had on Destiny, Lauren Chen, and some other dude who I saw for the first time ever. Who? That's the only way I can explain it, because I don't remember what his name was. But what did it have to do with authenticity and stuff? I'm trying to think, because they would have been they talked about multiple stuff. I'm just trying to remember what exactly had my interest. It might have had to do with education, because that was why I was talking about education and indoctrination and stuff in there. I do remember that being touched on a bit. I'm gonna have to try and remember it exactly.
That's a shocker. That kick had nothing going.
That's out on the full. Because I know I was talking about how our life is kind of very predatory in terms of we are born and then like we're considered part of, like, it's fascinating how we're born and then we're sort of classified as citizen in that we have no control on that. We're just like claimed, you know, like I claim this baby in the name of Australia. That's just kind of what happens. And then it's like you got to go to school, and then but you don't really get much of a choice on it and stuff. You're just a little kid, and then it's you have to go through that and then when that's done, then we like give the job offers and everything based on whether or not you were put in the system that you were like put in this indoctrination system, logically speaking, to then grow up to the point where then we consider you able to make your own decisions, and immediately you must make the decisions and then live in a way that is suitable for us after everything. So and the whole thoughts into that are not completely communicated properly in the way that I feel confident in them, in terms of the way I communicated them, but in terms of the way I think and feel about it, I'm like, I know that I understand what I'm saying, but the communicating it outward to the potential of someone else hearing that, what would it be? It would be you grow up, you are claimed, you are then put into a system that logically speaking would be saying you do not have the ability to consent to this, so we are pretty much indoctrinating you to then live in a world, live within a system that says once you reach a certain age and we consider you perfect, we consider you fine now to be able to make your own decisions. You've literally just come from like 18 years of not being able to do so. So how could you actually trust? Because how could you trust that person isn't indoctrinated? They would be. Just logically speaking, and then it's like, if you then don't live in this world and be valuable to us, we then don't give you stuff, which, yes, if you're not valuable to people, there's no entitlement, there's no like I don't think there probably should, like, just person to person basis, you're like, look, if you don't value someone, why should you have to, like, give them stuff, you know? I feel like that makes sense. But I also see it where it's like, the way that we look at each other and the way that we treat each other is very much just like, I will use you as a child to, like, children are brought up to then in an indoctrination way to then serve until they die, you know. Okay. Hopefully, as we go forward, like, my thoughts on it will be communicated more clearly. But I do feel correct in what I'm saying.
The non-preferred lets him down.
Good penetration.
Go this way.
The Demons guarding the corridor.
It does make sense though that communication can be difficult because like, communication is less applicable to history, in that, because it's said that people won't remember what you say, but they'll remember how you make them feel. In that, the way that we feel, like, the way that I understand that is that the way that we feel is much more consistent with history. It's much more consistent. Like, languages are languages, you know? They're all made up, but the way that we feel, it's not like a man-made creation necessarily. It's like something that just kind of happens, so it's easier, it's much more consistent, it's much deeper to who we are. It is who we are. So so that's why we remember that better, rather than like a word that a person said. Because like, words in the dictionary are all just made up. They're not as consistent with history, because the English language, all these other languages, they all had to start somewhere, and that point that it started was after we had feeling. Like, we have had feelings for longer than we've had the English language.
Clean pickup.
Then we've had communication of words with other people. So, I think that's why that makes sense. Like, that is something I like to try and think about in terms of if we're like trying to understand ourselves, trying to understand the world, how things are and have been. It's like trying to understand, well, what is consistent throughout all different types of cultures, languages, time periods. And then it's like, whatever seems to be the most consistent is probably the most likely answer and reason that things happen. I think,
with a chance now. He doesn't waste many. The Blues have got out of jail. Searching kick.
Okay, Mr. Bowie. Okay. Oh, he's missed it. Okay, well, come get that. That's with Chandler. Oh, never mind.
Greg Williams would have been proud.
Mr. Sard.
Goes laterally. Lever wins it back. Great mark.
Come over here. We got Langdon.
He just keeps
Palms. Just keep it going.
Goes long to centre half forward.
I know that I say things of like, oh, it's unfortunate and stuff to see Carlton only having one goal. Like, yes, it's unfortunate, but the way that I really want to say it is that it really sucks. You know? Like, it's not... Like, my enjoyment of what's going on right now actually comes from the fact that I'm talking about stuff. And that's where my main focus is. Like, that it doesn't really have much of an impact in terms of the way that I'm playing the game. I don't think. Because I'm used to, like, listening to other people speaking about topics while I'm playing games. So I've gotten used to that. Right? So I don't feel like I'm like, oh, I need to spend like full energy, as much energy as I can on this game. Because honestly, I probably wouldn't enjoy it. Just in general. Just in general, if I was just focusing on the game. I probably wouldn't enjoy it. Because I've gotten used to having other things on with sport games. That I play.
It must be his birthday.
So it's like me talking is me filling that void.
He'll be dragged if he keeps doing that. Can they keep the footy?
So it's like, how do we make closer games though? You know?
Thought his way through it.
I don't know. It's just something where it's like, I really hope as the season winds down, gets closer to the end, that it kind of fixed. So then, because I don't want to get to the finals and be like, oh, these finals games are just going to be ultra predictable based on whose player won. I don't want that happening.
Dangerous place to turn it over. Had some assistance. The Demons have sent a warning to the rest.
That's not going to count. That wasn't kicked in time, but that's going to be the end right here. We have a little look. Yeah, it was just the one goal for Carlton, man. Like, Posey Pickett and Brown each had more points than the entire Carlton team. Ed Langdon, Jack Viney, both with the 52. That's a big number, man. You see Melbourne players at the top marks-wise. So it was Melbourne getting on top. They had that player one privilege, and it really took them all the way. They get on top of Carlton. It was 3 for Pickett, 52 from Langdon and Viney, and final margin, Melbourne beat Carlton 83-8, which is a 75-point victory.